Success leaves clues, man. God doesn't just show up and just burn you down at the stake without giving you another, like an out.
Welcome to the Own Your Life podcast. If you guys are new to following this, just stay tuned for a couple minutes. We're going to be getting our guest in here any second now. And I'm super freaking jacked about bringing this guy on, you guys. He is like, I'm going to be honest. I say this every single time I talk to him. He is like the real life freaking Energizer Bunny.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we have success. Yeah! All right. I feel like we've done something like major as far as like human advancement of technology when it comes to this stuff.
Well, I mean, you know, and we're pretty fantastic, man. Exactly how we.
So, can you hear me okay? Yeah?
Yep, I can hear you.
So, thank you so much for having me on today.
Yeah, I'm freaking excited. You're like the real life Energizer Bunny, and I'm really excited about sharing your message with the audience members. So I was just telling everyone who, right before you jumped on here, that what we do on this podcast, we try to talk about owning your life. What that means is owning all the crap that happens to you. Like, let's be real, crap happens to every single person, and owning that and embracing it and turning it into our gift to ourselves as well as our gift to the world. And I mean, when you agreed to come on here, I was like, dude, this man models this 120%. So I'm jacked to have you on here.
Well, thank you for having me on here. It's a beautiful Saturday, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. So this is going to be great. You ready to dive into it?
Let's do it. Let's do it. So for people that are new to following you, give us kind of background. What's your bio? I know it personally, but share with everyone kind of all your experiences if you can.
Oh, wow. Where do I start? So, you know, at 15 years old, I had this dream in my heart to actually pick up a guitar and form a rock band and get signed. I saw that come to fruition 15 years later. I started a personal training business from the ground up in a town of just merely 300,000 people. Saw that come to fruition. And, you know, me and my wife now are currently working together in a network marketing adventure. And it's absolutely crazy. We've gone from 0 to 50,000 people in 30 months. So, I mean, that's absolutely
ridiculous.
Crazy. Yeah. Thank you so much. It's crazy.
That's amazing. So what do you think made you guys so successful? Like, I've never been in an MLM, but I've seen a lot of them where it seems like you either have it or you don't have it. You either have the magic sauce or you don't. How do you think you were able to create so much success in that?
Well, I think that's the same thing that I've done in all of my business adventures. Number one, failure. I've failed a lot at a lot of different things, and I've learned. You know, like for instance, whenever I wanted to play in bands, I realized what was working and what wasn't working, how to like approach band members and how to like recruit band members and how to like actually see the process from my mom's garage to the stage. You know, it's seeing that, like learning from what's happening and where you're failing at. Like a lot of people, I think they get sucked into this vortex in their own mind of negative self-talk or negative doubt. And so they never really start, you know, they never start. Yeah. And as far as MLM, it's the same exact thing, right? We didn't know anything going to MLM, but what happened was we learned from our failures all along the way. Many businesses that failed, and guys, I hit you with the 3 top things that I've done. I'm not talking about all the ones over here that we failed at. You know, real estate, raw food challenge, other business adventures. I'm not talking about all that stuff, but we took those nuggets and we built into that and built that MLM business.
I love that, and I love so much how you're talking about the first one with the guitar, like the business lessons that taught you. And I feel like a lot of people in the music industry don't approach music as an actual business, but everything in life is a business. I would even challenge people that even if you're not working a business, you are a business. So I love the fact that you're able to take these losses or wins and principles that you learned from each individual one and apply them into every single success that you've had. That's fascinating.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, going back to whenever I started in the band, I saw Nirvana on stage and what was it? Like on MTV, what is it called? Alternative Nation, I think it was, like at 11 o'clock at night. And I saw him and I was like, I can do that. I want to do that. I had never picked up a guitar, didn't know how to play, didn't even know who Nirvana was. But I was like, I saw that, I could do it. And then the very next day, they were an overnight success. They were everywhere. But I literally went to the store within a week and I bought a guitar. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to sit down and learn how to play this. And it was god awful. Let me be very clear. I'm not a prodigy, just picks up an instrument and just starts banging out chart topping hits. It doesn't work like that. It was awful. My parents came in my room. They were talking to me about, God, stop making all those noises, turn it down. It sounds awful. My friends would come over, right? And this is the same thing in our business, right? We've got our parents. Why don't you get a real job? Why don't you go work for the state? Why don't you go do this? Something more secure. Why don't you go to college, right? I'm getting it at 15 years old. Right? They're like, hey, why don't you go play sports? Why don't you do this? My friends come over, friends that I love and respect. They're like, dude, that sounds awful, dude. You're never going to make it. Who do you think you are? You're never going to make it. And I just kept playing along, and I just kept playing and playing and playing. And I managed to recruit like 5 people that thought that I was crazy as me. You know, I found some people, right? So that's the other tip of business, is that I realized I couldn't do it all myself. I had to overcome the negative self-talk, but I couldn't do it all myself. And it's a lot like in business, where, you know, owning your own life. It's like, you got to own it, right? You got to step in and you got to own it. Yeah, I can't do this myself. I need to ask for help. I need to recruit people with different talents and skill sets that are going to help me push the ball down the line, whatever it is.
I love that you just said that. So how do you go about knowing what people to listen to and what person not to listen to? So when you're talking about recruiting these people, what advice would you give somebody that's starting a business, or even, we can put this on a personal level, wanting to start a relationship with someone, right? Maybe you want to start a partnership. How do you suggest deciding who to recruit and who the haters are that you need to ignore?
Sure. Number one, if the first thing out of their mouth is negativity, or if they pause, we should wait, we should pause, we should wait, this isn't going to work, that's not going to work. Like, just, you can always sense that. Like, I look for people like, hey, do you want to run with me or not? Do you want to do this or not? Like, I'll go back to the bands. Like, I knew then that these people were crazy enough as me. They were willing to go through a wall. But if they were like, I'm kind of busy, I don't know if I can do that, I can't work on weekends, I've got the family time, I can only devote X amount. If they're already telling me how much time they can devote to this, I'm like, I don't know if that's going to work out. It may not work out for us.
I love that. Yeah, that's a really, really good point that I think a lot of people need to do. A lot of people isolate themselves. I mean, Grant Cardone talks about a lot with the solopreneur thought process that a lot of people are on, where I can just do this all myself. And I mean, you need to have self-reliance. You need to be able to have the ability to rely on yourself, be able to be alone enough that you can wait for the right people, but that does not mean that you're going to be able to fully accomplish something huge and great completely by yourself. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I mean, it goes back to the mentor thing, like you were talking about earlier. Like, how do you know, like, where do you go? Like, I had a mentor in my life, right? My mentor, I didn't know my mentor. Like, my mentor was Kurt Cobain, right? I saw him on stage, I saw him do it, and I thought, well, if he can do it, I can do it. And I used him as a mentor. And guys, you know, if you're out there and you want to start a business, find somebody who's doing whatever it is you want to do and who's more successful at you. You don't have to know them. You don't have to meet them in person. You don't ever have to meet them, just to be very honest with you. His drive and energy was enough to allow me, should I say, to give me permission to become myself and to step into that role, to know that I could do it.
I love that. And I love the fact you're talking about they don't need to actually know them. I mean, we live in the day and the age where the internet is there. So you're picking your mentors every single day. Is it Netflix that you're picking as your mentor? People sitting there telling you how depressed they are? Is it the news that you're picking as your mentor? Or if you want, you can literally, you know, look up whoever you want. You're not going to be able to get Bill Gates to be your actual real life mentor, but you can model every single thing that he did and make it so you're literally brainwashing yourself to be able to think the same way he did to get the same results that he did. So I love that so much, Jason.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's really what it's going to take. And that goes back to not knowing, that goes back to you not being able to do it on your own. You're not going to be able to figure it out on your own. You're going to have a mentor, like I said, personally or distant, right? You're going to have somebody to show you the way or show you what's possible.
So when you're picking these mentors, how do you know when to move past a particular mentor and not continue to study them? Where do you think that is when you've learned everything that they know, or you learned everything you can from them? I'd be interested to hear how you approach that.
That's a great question. So if I start coming to them with questions that, or let's say that I don't know them. Okay, so let's say Kurt Cobain, right? Like, I saw the vision, and I'm going to say like the same thing with personal training. I saw the vision. I used Shaun T as my mentor. You know who Shaun T is from Insanity? Yeah, he was my mentor there. Like he was my mentor. I never met the guy, never knew the guy. We've never spoken. I was like, if he can do it, I can do it. If he can do it, I can do it. And I was
Yeah.
realized like once I mastered something, a certain thing that this person does really, really well, then I'm like, okay, I feel good about this. I've moved on. And it starts to feel a little almost repetitive or redundant. Does that make sense? Like when I feel like here's a key example. Internally, you know that if you're moving forward, you know that you're moving forward. Number one, you're going to see new wins, you'll see new opportunities, you're going to meet new people. If none of those things are happening, right, and you're starting to get frustrated, that's a key indicator that A, you're not moving in the right direction, but B, you may need to have some patience, you may need to have a skill that you need to master, right? So like as far as like let's say Cardone. So I followed Cardone all of it, like October of 2016. Every single day I had him in my ear, all the way till I want to say April of last year. Now, why did I switch off Cardone, right? Why did I switch? The reason was because I felt like I was almost, and I'm going to say that this is going to sound kind of weird, but people that know me are going to know exactly what I'm talking about. It was almost like our identities started to mesh. Like I started to use a lot of his stuff, and I was like, man, I probably need to get, because I'd already 10x my income, my monthly income. I'd already 10x my monthly income. That was my goal, to 10x my monthly income. And I did it in 12 months, all on Cardone's principles. But then I moved on, but it started to get like I was stuck in this rut. So I was like, okay, I use Cardone to make the money. Now I listen to somebody else to show me what to do with the money. And then whenever I've done that cycle there, then I go back to Cardone to make more money. Does that make sense?
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, I go back and forth between them because there's certain things that certain people know. I don't believe any one person on this planet knows everything. And if somebody tells you that they do, run for the hills. Run for the hills. So like, yeah, go ahead.
I love what you're saying there. And what I think so fascinating about what you're doing, where a lot of people I think go wrong, specifically in owning their life, owning their story, is they put these people, their mentors, up on a pedestal where they think what they're doing is not obtainable, and they more worship them versus learn from them. So I love what you're talking about there on understanding that your mentors are there to help you with your success, not be your success.
Absolutely. So like, let's take the personal training adventure, right? I started in my town, and I walked into personal training because I love personal training, number one. And then people started wanting to work out with me. So my wife, the entrepreneur that she is like, hey, you need to go get a certification and start charging these people. This is back in 2008, whenever the economy was melting down, and they offered a stimulus. Do you remember that? They gave a stimulus package out. I took that money, so everybody got like $500. Everybody I knew, they bought DVDs, they took themselves out for dinner, and they went to the movies. Guess what I did? I took $495 of that $500 and sunk it into a personal training certification and multiplied it over and over. And I made thousands and made over $100,000 with that for $400, $500. But that's what I did. And then what happened was I started learning from different people. I walked into the personal training industry, into an industry that was A, oversaturated, but B, people were very judgmental, people were condescending, and people were not so nice. It's not a great industry to get into if you don't know somebody. I didn't know a single person when I got into it. And, you know, it started from the ground up, but I knew that, just like when I was in bands, I knew that I could do it and be the most successful in that town. The question was, who was going to be my mentor? I looked around the gym. These guys were putting me down. This is how you know to pick the mentor, right? These guys were putting me down. These trainers that were ripped and jacked and been doing it for 30 years. They started putting me down. They started laughing at me behind my back. They started joking to me about how I train my clients, like on and on and on. That's not a mentor, you guys. If you have somebody putting you down, that is not a mentor. I don't care how successful they are. That's not a mentor.
I love that. So where did Jason come from? Like, how did you get like this unruly self-confidence, if you will, just to be like, hey, I'm going to get into a band and I'm going to kill it. I don't give a crap what everyone says. I'm going to do personal training and travel with one of the biggest CEOs in business. And then on your next venture, where did this guy of just confidence come from? Were you always like this, or was there like a fork in the road that changed who you were?
Oh my God, that's a great question. Oh, I wasn't always like this. I'll be honest with you. I got bullied a lot as a kid. I got my face punched in. I got kicked in. I got beat up at school. I remember when I was 16 years old, we were waiting in the parking lot line. There was a 2-car line, and this dude over here wanted to get over, and I was like stuck, whatever. He jumped out of his car in my school parking lot, jumped out of his car, reached through my window, grabbed my glasses, ripped them off my face, and then smashed them into the side of my face with punched me. And this was like a weekly thing. And I started working out, and like my dad was like, "You need to start working out." And that gave me a little bit of confidence. But when I left high school, I swore I would never go back. I've never been back. But number two, I swore that I would never let anyone do that to me again. I would never put myself in that position to be taken advantage of like that again. And I'll be honest with you, I picked up the guitar, I think, because my parents got divorced and I was angry at the world. And that was my driving factor. Now that you asked me this, I think it was my driving factor because I was angry and I wanted to show the world that I could do something, because I was a class clown. But I wanted to show the world that I could do something. I came from Wetumpka, Alabama, just as they used to say, just a white kid. You don't know where you're going. Don't know. You're nobody. You're nobody. That's what they always used to tell me. Who do you think you are? Do you know where you come from? And I was just like, I'll show you who I am. And I just pulled it. It's like Eminem says, man, like when you're tired, you feel weak. When you feel weak, you want to give up, and you want to give up, man, you got to pull that shit out of you. You just got to pull it out.
I love that song so much.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And you just came from that rock bottom and you freaking made something out of it, man. Like, do you think about that often? Do you like recycle that pain that you felt with the bully beating you up, or how do you use that energy or that experience nowadays?
Honestly, I never think about it. I used to use it whenever I was like I said, I used that as my fuel. But I had a mentor that I actually hired, Ray Higdon. He's a great guy. He explained to me, and I had already stopped doing this, but I maybe like tapped into it every now and then, just when I wanted to flex. And he was like, listen, man, if you go around your entire life proving people wrong, what happens when you prove them wrong? He's like, dude, you run out of gas. You've run out of fuel. Yeah. And you can't, I mean, and it hit me like it hit me like the truth does, like a bag of gold bricks. I mean, it hit me, it hit me so hard. And so I've made it my mission to be who all I can be, because I know I have so much in me, like so much in me that if I'm holding back even a little bit, it kills me. It pains me. Like that's my driving factor now. Instead of looking back, I'm looking forward at the people that I can help, at the people that I can help make money, at the people that I can help believe in themselves and see their potential and uncover their potential. I guess I believe in people more than they believe in themselves most of the times.
Damn. I really want people to hear what you just said. There's a big movement nowadays for, success is the best revenge, but hate and anger can only get you so far. Like, you know, you can use it to fuel you, but eventually what's going to happen? You're going to be on your deathbed running out of people to hate. Or you're going to run out of motivation because you ran out of people to hate. Like, it's only going to get you so far. And I mean, I just said that yesterday, but I love the way that you said it. The way you articulated it, I think was really like, holy crap, man, that is huge.
Thank you. It's speaking from the heart, I mean, it's literally about like the same thing that drove me in music, and the same thing that drove me to become a personal trainer in the best of my city, walking into an unknown snake pit filled environment and declaring to myself, I'm going to be the best in the city. I don't know how, I'm just going to do it, right? And the same thing with network marketing. I was like, we're going to get to the top. I don't know how, I have no idea how to do it, but we're going to put one foot in front of the other and make that happen. And this is coming off a previous failure. Like all of these, by the way, are coming off previous failures now that I think about it. Becoming a musician, parents get divorced, I was bullied, I turned into a musician, right? Wanted to be a personal trainer, I didn't like my job, I didn't like the people that I worked with, I didn't like the situation I was in, I was broke all the time. That fueled me to become a personal trainer. I was like, I can make money at this, I can provide for my family. Network marketing, I came off a thing that like a bunch of business failures. Video, being an entrepreneur in different areas and arenas. And I was like, okay, I failed at all these. What did I learn? What did you truly learn? And how can you push this forward? Just applied all those principles and boom, it just took us to the moon.
Damn. So I don't want to put salt in the wound, but you seem like you're pretty successful and you bounced back from them really well. Can you share some of your failures and the lessons that you learned from them?
Yeah, so I'm going to share the biggest one with you. Number one, so me and my wife had and by the way, I don't think there's salt in the wounds. I love talking about my failures. Absolutely love it. I mean, I would rather swing the bat 10 times, Annie, and lose 7, right? And only win 3 than swing the bat 10 times and win all 10 times. The reason why is because I'm going to learn more in those 7 when I lose than the person who's going to learn when they win every single time. You can't learn from the mountaintop. It's always in the valley is where you learn. Always, always, always. So here's the $1 million tip that I learned. This made me $1 million right here. So I did this program called the Raw Food Challenge. We sold it for $21 and we pitched that thing to 1,200 people one at a time. Bang, 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 all over the internet. and this is 2015. I had just come off a job loss, unexpected 6-figure job loss, almost lost our house, had to call the mortgage company. And let me tell you guys something. If you're ever out there and you have to call your mortgage company, it's like, I can't pay the bills. Like instantly in that moment, I realized there was something about making money, saving money, or multiplying money that I didn't know. It's always apparent. Whatever you don't know is what you don't know. And then it comes back to you and you're like, oh shit, I don't know this. So what happened was we put together this thing called the Raw Food Challenge. We challenged people to eat for a month, nothing but raw food. Sounds great. We had a lot of testimonials. The problem was we didn't make enough money to sustain our lifestyle. And what happened was, this is where the $1 million tip is. We had to bring people into a Facebook group. We had to get them energized about eating raw food. Like, that's pretty tough, and not eating any meat or eating any cooked food, especially when you've been eating pizza and steaks your entire life. Not eating dairy, not eating gluten, not eating other things like high sugar foods. Now, here's the cool thing about this. Had to get them excited in a month period, had to keep them engaged for another 3 weeks, and then we had to close the group down and restart this entire cycle with all new people the very next time. But the whole time while this is going on, we're pitching it, we're talking about it, we're making videos. The whole entire time. The $1 million tip was this. We learned how to take multiple demographics of people and get them engaged and get them all moving in one singular direction. That's the $1 million tip. Now, I've got over 50,000 people on my team. Get them engaged, make them move in one singular direction. Get them engaged, get them excited, and make them move in one singular direction. That's a $1 million tip.
How did you find that tip? Like when you're having your failures, do you have a system that revisits it? Like I'm a huge David Goggins fan. I'm going all into his work again. And he talks about the live autopsy, where he has a whole process for those and figuring out what he can learn to make it so it doesn't happen again. Do you have a system, or do you just naturally, consistently evaluate yourself?
Well, I didn't realize this until we were in it. Like, so we're like 3 or 4 months into the network marketing. I think by month 6, I realized like, oh my God, this is what we learned. This was the $1 million tip right here. Because I mean, it took me a while. Like, I think it's a situation where you don't really understand what you're learning until you're in the middle of learning what it is that you've already previously learned. I've been here before.
Yeah.
I've been like you got to pay attention to what's going on around you and what's going on in your life. I mean, I tell my team all the time, self-awareness is the #1 definer of success. You've got to be able to control your emotions. You've got to control where you're going, and you've got to be able to control your energy and your actions. Self-awareness, asking yourself what's really going on here. And then that's whenever I learned it was 6 months in. And that's the same thing with anything else that I've ever done is I don't know it when it's happening, but I can realize it while I'm kind of in it, in the middle of the woods, so to speak.
So how do you control your emotions? I think that that's huge. A lot of people, you know, in business, or not even in business, let's be real, relationships, in nutrition goals, whatever it is, they lose themselves to their emotions, and there's always this internal battle. How do you embrace that self-awareness? What does that look like for you?
Okay, so let's talk about all right, so I'm gonna use CrossFit as an example. Like today, I didn't want to go, and I had to tell myself, okay, if you don't go, then you're not gonna be alive for this podcast. You're gonna feel dead, you're gonna feel tired, you're gonna feel weak. And when you feel weak, you want to give up. Right? I'm not going to be able to bring my energy. So I focus my energy on bringing 100% to you and your audience. And I was like, okay, I've got to get my energy here. That motivated me to go. I think like, for instance, I have a lot of people that will, let me see how I can word this. I have a lot of people that have talked bad about me sometimes at periods in my life on the internet, whether it be family, whether it be friends, which are the worst, to be honest with you. It hurts the most. And then I have business associates. It's taken me a while to understand how to handle that, especially people that I've personally mentored for months and months and months and hours and hundreds of hours. People I've personally mentored, and I had this, like, how can they do that to me kind of thing, right? In the beginning, it hurt and it cut really bad. And I wanted to fire back and retaliate and just basically rip their heads off on social. And I stopped for a moment. I said, #1, what would my kids think of me doing this? What would my kids think? That's the thing that I use. I use that as my motivating factor because I want whatever it is that I do to expand it to my kids. So I think about what would my kids think. #2, what would my team think? Right? My kids and my wife, but what would my team think of me seeing me do this? Do I want them to act like this? Right? And #3, to myself, what's really going on here? Like, what's really going on? So I'll give you an example. So we had an individual on our team and they unexpectedly got terminated and bashed us all over the internet. And at the time, I had coached this individual to success. I'd helped this person build a great monthly income. Like it was pretty good. She had a car, she had all sorts of stuff. I didn't understand everything that was going on at the time, but all of a sudden, it's like this person just turned on us. It just turned on me, and it hurt my feelings. It cut me, and it cut me deep. But then I stopped and I started thinking about it for a minute. I was like, wait a minute, this person gave up. I never gave up on them. This person just gave up. So I call this the all-in theory. Guys, listen close to really what I'm about to tell you. This is going to save you and your ass so many times in business and in life. The all-in theory goes like this. I'm writing a book about this, by the way. It goes like this. When you're all in, and you're all in on your dreams, your goals, and motivation, and somebody comes into your life that wants your personal coaching, mentoring, whatever it may be, and you're all in, and they're all in, everything you say comes off as encouraging, it comes off inspiring, it comes off as inspirational. But the very moment that they step out and they start to believe their own negativity and doubt, I don't know if I can do this, this is too much work, I need to spend more time with my kids, whatever it is, they feed themselves, and you're still all in. Your voices and your voice and your words and your messaging comes across as pushy. It comes across as condescending. It comes across as bossy or an asshole. It comes across like that. But you've never changed. It's just the perception of how they see it has changed. And so what happens? Yeah. So what happens is you've got to understand, and that's what helps me control my emotions. I'm like, wait a minute, what's really happening? God, what are you trying to show me, and what's really happening? Guys, here's the thing about life and business and success and everything. If you're ever in the middle of something, stop and ask questions. If you're out there telling yourself, I'm running out of money, I don't have enough money, I'm running out of money, I don't have enough money, I'm running out of money, I don't have enough money, you're not giving yourself solutions. Your brain can't find a solution. But if you stop and ask yourself, okay, how can I make more money? Where can I find more money? Who can I talk to? You're giving your brain like, oh my God, I got to reach out to John. You're not closing yourself off. So whenever you begin to have people attack you and come after you that try to raise your emotions, quote unquote, get a rise out of you, stop and ask yourself, what's really going on here? And start saying, how dare they, right? Whenever you say, how dare they, who do they think they are, right? You're not giving yourself a solution.
So what would that question be to yourself if someone's trying to get a rise out of you? What do you think that question would be?
What's really going on here? There's always two conversations going on. When somebody's attacking me personally, or if they come after me, whatever it may be, and they're attacking me in business, because I'll be very honest with you guys, it's going to happen. You get big enough in any business, you're going to have it happen. You're going to have negative talk. You're going to have people slander you on the internet. You're going to have people make videos, whatever, joke it all, whatever it is. Ask yourself one question: what's really going on here?
I love that, and I love how you tied that into not being fully committed, because it's not just your employee or your person that was not fully committed. You can have haters randomly that are not fully committed to their lives, which ties in perfectly to the Own Your Life freaking podcast theme. They're not owning their life. So you owning your life infuriates them. And it's so heartbreaking that's the factor that causes a lot of people to be haters, you know?
Yeah, I personally don't think it's heartbreaking. I think it's, and this is how I see it personally. I think I'm like, if they're an adult, they need to take responsibility for every one of their actions. I almost find it laughable and comical whenever people do that to me. The reason is, number one, I will not block them. I will never block my haters. I will never block somebody who's joking about me or talking about me on the internet. Never, ever, never. In fact, I will use that. There's that energy, tapping into that energy, Melissa, that negative energy. Well, if they're going to talk about me, I'm going to give them something to talk about. I'm just going to double my live broadcast. I'm going to double my posting. I'm going to burn down Instagram stories, and I'm going to make them scream my name from the rafters. Sure, that's who I am, though. But again, that goes to the part where I used to get bullied as a kid. Now that I think about this is an insight. That goes back to me getting bullied as a kid. I couldn't do anything then, but you're damn right I can do something about it now.
I love that. So you're using them as haters. You're not hating on them. Just for clarification from the audience members, that, you know, where we're talking about, okay, don't hate people and prove them wrong to be your energy, but you're basically loving them in a loving fashion, and then they're just kind of burning themselves down in their own hate, if I'm understanding you correctly, correct?
Yeah, 100%. The more they see my face, the more they're going to either be like, you know what, he's not a bad dude. That never really happens, to be honest with you. But I mean, you know, it's going to be like, you know what, he's not a bad dude, or I can't stand him. It's like Howard Stern said, the people that love me listen to me 2 hours a day. The people that hate me listen to me 4 hours a day.
I love that. I love that. That's something I definitely need to get better at. I'm very much an empath, as they call it. That's a trendy word nowadays. So I'm like, what could I have done better? I'm so sorry. You know, so when I get haters, it takes me a while to process it. I do process it that way. It's just not a natural response for me. I try to be empathetic. It's my natural response, and then it takes me a couple days, and I'm sitting there freaking running on the treadmill, and I'm like, screw everybody. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll be very honest with you. Like, if somebody has an issue with me, they can always message me, and everybody knows that. I'm a great guy when it comes to that. But if it goes straight from, I'm not even going to contact him to just boil over with rage and start slandering you on the internet, block you, and then slander you behind your back where you can't even see it. That's a coward right there. That's a real coward right there. And I'm like, game on. Sorry, this is me. This is me.
You're like, it's on. Awesome. So what would you say for the people that are watching this would be the number one, number one principles that you think are applicable to whatever they're doing in their life that you learned from your failures or your success that they can apply like today?
That's a great question. You didn't prep me for these, by the way. So just to let you guys know. So I think number one is believe in you. And I don't want that to make it sound corny, but you have to understand that everything you've gone through is for your good. It's not happening to you, it's happening for you. You've got to understand, no matter how bad it may seem, you have to understand, like when I almost lost my house, that was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. And it took me years to understand that though. Like whenever I lost my job unexpectedly, like that was literally him pushing me off the cliff because he knew I had it in me. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But I couldn't do it at the company, right? It's the same thing with me almost losing my house. I had to learn about money. I didn't respect it enough or value it enough. Now you guarantee I value the shit out of money, right? Because I've almost lost my house. I put my family at risk. You've got to understand that the struggles, one thing I would say is this to your audience and to your listeners, is go back and go through your life. Find your biggest points, and I guarantee you, whenever you find your biggest struggles in the valley, there's a left-hand turn there. God always shows up in the left-hand turns. Always, 100%. I'm 42 years old, 100%. And I guarantee you, if you stop and ask yourself, what really happened in this scenario? You can figure out the lesson. You can figure out the how to get to the next line. Because success leaves clues, man. God doesn't just show up and just burn you down at the stake without giving you another, like an out. Make sense?
Yeah.
He doesn't make you go through stuff without showing you how to like you struggle, bridge, way to get out, struggle, way to get to the next level, way to get to the next level, way to get to the next level. Like you have to have it.
I love that. Yeah. I love it so much. And I love how you're just, what I love about these and why we don't do the prepping is because you're radiant just off the top of your head. Like you're dropping shit like that, man. So I love what you're saying. And I totally am with you. We actually lost our house in 2017. After the 12 surgeries I had in 2016, we couldn't afford, we couldn't, keep afloat. We just couldn't. And then, I had to give up my car for that exact same reason. And ironically, it's kind of funny now looking back. I called the bank and said, hey, come and take the car. And they tried to take the car, but they couldn't take the car because it was already towed for unpaid parking tickets. So,
wow.
You're at rock bottom when you can't even give your car back correctly. But you learn so much from that if you're willing to look for the lesson. That's the big thing, is if you're willing to look for the lesson that's in there. And it's not just there to burn you down. It's there to teach you something that you can apply later into your life. So I'm 120% with you, man. So what do you think's next for you, Jason? And how can the people on this podcast support you?
So, number one, I'm writing a book. I'm getting into writing. I think I have this untapped skill at writing. Now, this is where I'm failing a lot. So I'm writing a lot of stuff behind the scenes. I'm like, no, that's not good. That's not good. That's not good. And you got to understand, like, whenever you guys start on something new, you're going to suck at it. You're going to suck at it. And I have to tell myself, okay, you're going to suck at this, but if there's something that you want to do and you see the visions in your head, right? Because I'm not watching Netflix. I'm not tuning into the news. I'm not watching Netflix. I'm trying to tune into me, right? I think the next thing for me is I'm going to be a writer. I'm working on a book. I've got the rough outline. I've got the theme of the book. I've got the outline of the book, but it needs more of me in it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So I'm working on that. I'm getting into trying to break into the arena of speaking to at-risk youth kids. I've spoken to some of them, and the ones that I've spoken to, it's incredibly impacted them. Like it's children without fathers, or children or without mothers that are possibly incarcerated, things like that. Like it's so fulfilling to do something like that for these kids. So I'm going into that, and who knows? Maybe you'll see me on stage here and there.
Oh yeah, well you got the stage presence of like 10 amazing people in one, so I think you're 100% going to be up on the stage for sure. Is that something you want to do? Do you want to do a lot of public speaking?
I mean, I public speak every day. I do a Facebook Live, and yeah, I'd love to get up there like on a stage and do it. But I mean, I'm happy with doing a Facebook Live with like 1,000 people watching. It's the same thing to me.
Yeah,
I mean, I get all these people that I talk to, like, I want to be a speaker. I want to be a speaker. And like, no, you don't. You just want that to feed your own ego. I'm like, if you want to be a speaker, get on Facebook Live and just start spitting stuff every single day. Just spit it out, spit it out, spit it out. And your audience will grow. I mean, you got an entire auditorium of people that are right there watching you. Like they're all on their mobile phones though.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're all ready, and a lot of them probably need it a lot more than, people that are going to these seminars and stuff like that, because maybe they're not able to pay to go to that seminar or whatever it is. Or maybe or maybe they're so busy growing their business that all they can do is jump on a Facebook Live. So I love that. I love that a lot. Well, perfect. Last question for you before we wrap up here. What would you say your life mission statement or life purpose is if you were to give yourself one?
Wow. I don't want this to sound campy, so I'm going to make this about as real as I can make it for your audience. Is to understand the importance of what's inside of you. It's to understand your individuality. It's to understand, to not lean into what society is telling you. Hey, if it's too hard, you can just go ahead and start something else. If your marriage doesn't work out, there's another woman. If that house doesn't work out, just leave it. Don't worry about it. File for bankruptcy and move on. It's understanding that what you've got inside of you may take some grit. It may take some struggles, and it might take you failing, like hitting rock bottom once, twice, 3 or 4 times to uncover who you truly are. That's what I want people to understand. Trust me, I don't wake up every day and pray, God, give me a struggle today. I don't do that. As much as it sounds like I don't. But when it comes and it sucks, trust me, when it comes, it sucks. I'm out there and I'm like, okay, what are you trying to show me and what can I learn from this? It's having other people do that their own greatness is right there on the other side of that struggle when they bust through that wall.
I love that, man. I love that. That's a hell of a life purpose a mission statement to have, man.
Yeah.
No wonder you're always motivated.
Yeah. You got to be jacked, man, doing this stuff. You got to be jacked. You got to just love what you do. You got to love it.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, man. I really appreciate having you on here, and I'm super excited for anybody who wants to share this video. Please share it. Share the biggest takeaway. We'd love to hear from you, the biggest takeaway that you got from today's podcast and how you can apply it into your life, so it's not just another video that you watch without applying.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much for having me today. This has been excellent.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for being up for the challenge. I know it was an intense one.
It's all good. Thank you.